Imagine being 31 years old and suddenly finding yourself at the helm of an insurance company. How would you shake things up in an industry known for its traditional approach? We interviewed Joséphine Chamoulaud, CEO of Smile Insurance, to learn more about bringing a fresh perspective to the insurance sector. This episode is part of a series of 12 interviews brought to you by the INGAGE Institute and The Broker. Join me as we delve deeper into today's topic with Joséphine Chamoulaud. I'm Philippe, co-founder of the INGAGE Institute. We empower your employees and clients thanks to engaging insurance training, such as expert interviews. Grow trusted advisors with us.
Today on the show, I have a great pleasure to welcome Joséphine Chamoulaud. Hi, Joséphine. How are you doing?
Hi, Phil. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great and excited to talk to you. Joséphine, you are the CEO of Smile, a Swiss insurance company or insurtech, and we'll dive into that. And first, you're a young woman who got appointed there, and you come from marketing originally. How is that happening?
Yeah, it's an interesting combination. Not really interesting in other industries, but I think for the insurance industry, it's definitely still something. And I think we'll be talking a lot about the marketing aspect of Smile because it's been a key success factor of Smile in the past 5 years. I'm really happy that I got the chance to sort of lead the Smile Insurance forward and to make some impact.
May I ask you how old you are?
Yes, at the moment you can still ask me that. In 5 years I won't answer anymore, but I'm still 31. I'm going to be turning 32 this year.
Wow, that's a success story. And you're not an actuary, you're not an underwriter. What happened?
And what happened? So I've been in the insurance industry for 6 years now. My background is from marketing. It's how you communicate and transform information you have from a company to the client itself. And that has information around finance, that has information around product. It concerns the value proposition, it concerns prices, products, the typical Ps. And so you always have to touch base a bit in everything. And so marketing is just the translation from what the company has to offer to what the client actually wants. And it's actually a mediator between the two. And that's the biggest success you can have as a company if you can do that translation and you start to speak the same language.
You're there to speak the same language to your clients. But how are you different from your mother company, Helvetia? Because that's a well-established, quite old company.
In some ways, we're exactly the same, and in another sense, we're really different. In the core, we are a very normal insurance, right? We have claims that come in. We have quite basic products. We have a car insurance, we have a home insurance. And if you look at those products, there's nothing very innovative about those products. And that's always really important. In the core, we are an insurance company and we can offer the same as a Helvetia. But we are also enabled in being a part of Helvetia. So we can always sort of look back to our mother, right, the parent, and also get the best out of it. Learn things maybe Helvetia has learned in the last 160 years and adapt to what it needs to be in the future.
So you're not just an MGA, you're not agents, you're not just fronting, you're really an actual insurance company.
Exactly.
You do your own underwriting. How does that work?
We have our underwriters, our actuaries, IT, product management, so we have those capabilities. But we're in a core an insurance company, but to be different in the market and to touch on the needs of the customer today, we need to also think like the best brands out there who have the customer experience that the customers want nowadays. Netflix, Spotify, we've been named sort of the Netflix of insurance industry, but we really need to think about what do the best brands and companies out there do and try to bring those ideas back in to be able to be the insurance the customer wants for the future.
You chose orange as a company color. Isn't that supposed to be blue in insurance?
Yeah, funny. If you look at the history and if you look at the big insurance companies, blue is always the color that pops up. Blue is sort of the color of trust. And Smile, and that's quite interesting in the whole topic, is we are already 30 years old. So we're not sort of the young baby like a lot of insurtechs that are popping up now. We do have a rucksack full of experience. But we've always had sort of the innovation in our DNA. So 30 years ago, it was innovative to sell policies over the phone. And that was sort of the first thing Smile did. And then after, when the internet came, we went onto the internet. And then one started sort of, we took in Smile as a name, which is very uncommon in the insurance industry. So if you look, mostly it's a city name or it's another name, one maybe doesn't quite match up to what we are now. And with Smile as a name, we get a lot of emotion into our company. And that's the core success factor, I think, as well in our communication. The past 5 years, it's been driven a lot by emotion and by tapping into the emotions of our customers.
Well, what exactly do you do differently? You say you're innovative, you're different. How?
I think a lot lies in sort of starting off by looking what the others are doing, right? 5-6 years ago, when sort of disruption had already happened in a lot of different industries. In the taxi industry, there was Uber. Then the banking industry, you had Revolut. But in the insurance business, there was sort of things happening, but it was still right at the beginning. And what we did differently is we didn't benchmark ourselves with the traditional insurance. We've thought about it, okay, what are the aspects that can disrupt the industry? But it's not about only disruption, it's especially what does the client want at the moment and how can we bring that back into our insurance company. So we benchmark ourselves with other industries. We look at Netflix, we look at Spotify. What do they do for the customer? Netflix, for example, has a mobile-first strategy. You can also watch and stream videos over your phone. You can access it at any time you want. You can leave at any time you want. Flexibility. And those are those core aspects the customer is looking for today. And so we try to transfer those into our industry. And out came things like monthly cancellation fees or a mobile-first strategy that we really focus on designing our product over the phone so that the client really sort of feels as though it's integrated in the right way in his lifestyle and not the other way around.
So the number one thing that clients want, what is that?
It's the convenience, right? We have to stop thinking about the inside-out perspective that what we do and how we think is how the client wants it to be. We really have to integrate ourselves in the life of the customer because the customer will always take him or her as the most important aspect in his life. So we need to see how can we embed ourselves in his life. One of the biggest mistakes that companies do is they just think, how can we offer something and the client will come? How will the customer be embedded in our processes?
I understand the concept now. Can you explain it very concretely? I'm a customer. What kind of customer am I? How old am I? What do I want? What is the insurance product I'm going to go and buy in your company?
People think we have the young customers, but that's not really the case. So if you look at the typical customer we have, they're between 30 and 45. So it's not the old segment. It's not the very young segment. It's you, right? But then again, what's really important, what we see in comparison to traditional insurances, is it's very confident customers who want to decide by themselves. They're very curious. They want to discover, but then also inform themselves and decide by themselves. They want to be in the driver's seat. With traditional insurances, you often have the customers who are maybe either not really, they haven't got a lot of confidence to make the right decision, or they are willing just to pay a bit more money, but they just don't want to handle it themselves. And that's sort of a big difference we see between us and the traditional insurances.
Do you still have the small prints that I have to read on the claims?
No, there are still a few small letters back then, but that's also something we'll have to sort of work on in the next few years. But I think what we've done a lot as well in that area, for example, is we've just done a project last year where we've banned the physical element of the physical documents. We just have digital documents that fulfilling the whole 100% digital, 100% online proposition. And that we've seen a huge increase with our customers, that they all really wanted, and now also all have, is they don't have physical documents anymore, for example.
No physical documents anymore. And you had tried something with the metaverse. What was your experience with the metaverse?
Yeah, so we did our first experiment already sort of 1.5 years ago, sort of when the hype started coming. And first and foremost, just for us, and that's what I meant with innovation being in our DNA, it's always about trying something out, being at the forefront of innovation, trying out the technology. The trying out at that point in time is much more important than already thinking about the business case that will follow. Because with trying out, you'll learn about the technology, you'll be able to speak about it and understand it, but it's a point of digital transformation where you can not only transform the technology, but also the mindset of your people. And that's part of our culture, that we bring the people together, we bring our team together, they experiment this type of technology and they learn, and that broadens the horizon. We built on an existing platform, Spatial. We built on existing technology, and we built 2 different rooms. There was one public room, that's the experience room, so you can go in. You can actually even go in without the glasses, but obviously with the glasses you'll be fully immersed. And then we started building in things in that experience. So you can walk around, you can look at the car. The car is broken, there's a little scratch there. You can go into a house or a little living room, and there you see a broken TV. And there's sort of the first connection of insurance and TVs and claims and the metaverse. And then on the other side, we actually did a closed space, and that was the consultancy. So that was another thing we wanted to test. Does actually the client interact with us in the metaverse? Is he ready to do a consultancy? Yeah. That was a very interesting question for me, because it was the question, we as a digital company who don't have physical contact with the client, can we actually merge that together and start getting a connection where you actually get face to face and actually start seeing each other and experiencing each other?
How many people did you have to come to your metaverse?
Yeah, so obviously at the beginning, because we were the first ones as well, we got a lot of traction and attention. It wasn't only customers, it was as well a lot of competitors and people from the industry just sort of wanting to see what we actually did. Now, when it's sort of flattened down a bit, I mean, we started this last year. We've had around 2,500 visitors, but this has been sort of, at the beginning it was a bit more, now it's sort of 5 to 10 people a day. There's always something happening, but you definitely, that's what I mentioned before, it's not yet that what will drive revenue.
Could we buy an insurance from the metaverse?
You can book an appointment over our website, and then somebody of our customer care team will take an appointment with you, and you can say what you need, and you'll be able to click yourself through and buy one in the metaverse if you want to have.
How do you know that you have some of your competitors who went there?
Oh, well, at one point, there was just also people sort of coming in and bluntly saying they are competitors. But then again, we had a lot of competitors ask us, and it wasn't only competitors, it's just sort of people out of the industry that were interested. What are you doing? How did you do it? What platform did you use? Because I think we as an industry, especially when these hypes come up, everybody knows, okay, we need to at least look at it. And then everybody struggles to sort of find their use cases. So it was definitely sort of a lot of discussions about what use cases can be done.
And is there a big lessons learned coming out of it? What kind of a use case would you see in the future? Or if any, maybe you say metaverse, not for us, come back in 5 years.
I think, and if you know sort of the Gartner innovation curve, I think this is a very good example of that. So we had the hype where there was a lot of things sort of happening in that area, and we are now sort of in the phase where we can sort of be calmer again about it, sort of really check out the use cases, but also have to wait till the technology advances more. Also for the customer, obviously the glasses are very expensive, the technology is still evolving. Yep. There's not yet one standalone platform that has really sort of come out or as the platform to be on. So I think it gives us time to now just sort of see step by step what happens. I think coming back to the question, what's the lesson learned? I wouldn't do anything differently today. It was really important to make that first step, just to really get the experience, see what it is, and be ready when it evolves.
You also evolved now going into a different market, like Spain and Italy. That was like in the past 6 to 12 months, right? What was your major challenge?
So it's about 2 years ago now we started going international. A huge step, and I think also a sign that we've been really successful in the past few years. We've been getting a lot of traction from international markets. The question always arose, will Smile go international or not? And 2 years ago, and this is a step we discussed thoroughly with Helvetia, was to see how can we bring our successful business model to other markets. Then we sort of looked at the markets there are, and we quickly came to the solution to sort of go along countries that Helvetia is already placed in and active in. It had different factors in that decision, but one being almost the most important one was we can build on knowledge that Helvetia already has in the countries. So we can build on local capabilities, we can build on local know-how of Helvetia, and in that way we could sort of find out where is it interested, what country is interesting to go into, which ones have interesting offers, where is it still profitable, where is there opportunities, and that really helped us to make fast decisions and also fast steps into the countries.
What were the decisions you took over there and the steps?
We started off by Austria. Austria was low-hanging fruit. It was really easy to start in Austria. The culture is pretty near. We speak the same language. That makes a lot easier for our whole communication. We could also copy a lot of our front end and really scale it over. And then again, also the market situation is also pretty similar. So we actually could launch a Smile home insurance, and we could launch a car insurance and used our front end that we use in Switzerland. And we've had similar effects in how it works in those countries. It was a bigger topic in Spain because the Spanish market works quite differently. And so there now we've chosen another way, and we've gone on to smaller products where we really looked, okay, where is there still potential? What is happening in the market? How far is the market? What are the needs of the customer in Spain? And what can we also learn from Helvetia being in Spain and adapt it to that? And so there, for example, we've just launched Smile dog insurance because it's an interesting thing. In Spain this year, they're discussing about making it mandatory to have this insurance where if the dog starts biting a person or attacks another animal, it's probably becoming mandatory. It isn't yet, but it will. And so that's, for me, the best example. You look what is going on, and then you have to be fast. And that's sort of what we do. We're fast, we're agile, we adapt. And we go there where the customer will have maybe also not only a need now, but need in the future.
You take this dog insurance in Spain, for example. How does that work? I mean, you have Helvetia, your mother company, but you're still competing in a way. Do they also have a dog insurance? Or do competitors in Spain?
We always, I think, and that's the big, also in Switzerland, we have a car insurance, and Helvetia has a car insurance. We always say it's not the product where we'll be able to differentiate ourselves from each other, but we have to think about different customer segments. And then again, coming back to that, what I said at the beginning, you'll always have customers, they want the agent, and they want the agent to help him. And you'll have other customers, they'll want the digital experience and decide by themselves. And that's who we are targeting.
That would be the difference. The agent would be Helvetia, and the one with the digital experience, that would be Smile.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said you're going to a new market. How do you basically train these people? How do you recruit them? How do you make sure that they're really part of the Smile family?
especially in an international context, that's a really, really important one. And I think always the big question mark, because if you don't do it right, there's always sort of the central and local conflict one also talks about, right? So you try to sort of find the balance between what should be decided centrally and what should be decided locally. And overall that and everything happening, you have to sort of try to get teams together. In the past, we've been sort of doing everything we can to bring that culture also over to the other countries. And now we live in a time where we can do a lot over digital ways. So in a daily basis, my teams are working with the country teams and they communicate, they have meetings, they have one-to-ones, etc. But you do notice that if you don't bring the people now and then together in one room physically, you'll never get the same effects of culture. So something, for example, we're going to start to implement is sort of culture days, where we bring together all the teams, where they learn about the culture, but they just also learn to interact with each other in a physical way. They see each other and they sort of find solutions together and grow as a team to be able to really go like the culture of Smile needs to be. Yeah.
For the training, you do that mostly online, or you do this when you come to the head office, when you go there? How do you proceed?
As I mentioned, for example, especially at the beginning, it's really important to maybe also get the people to work aside of each other for 1 week, just to sort of get the most out of it. And that accelerates a lot in the future. I think if you get the beginning wrong, it'll have a lot of impact along the way for other things.
So how much time do you spend in planes and hotels?
Not that much, actually. Yeah, it's a bit more at the beginning, but nowadays there's a lot happening remote. I still find it important to be present in the countries now and then, but it's not that often anymore.
Now, the topic that everybody has been speaking about for the past 1.5 years, 2 years now, it's of course AI. To use AI, and if yes, how?
Well, obviously, it's definitely a topic, and it's a topic we'll have to really dive into and evolve in the future. I'm convinced it'll be a big part of Smile in the future. We have already been using AI for a while now, but maybe again in smaller use cases. One topic we've had for quite a while now, and I would say already before the hype started last year with ChatGPT, we had it already 3 years ago, is feedback management. That was our first use case. So we have all these feedbacks coming in over the phone, over chats, over emails. We have a software as a service tool in place that aggregates all those feedbacks and uses AI to sort of filter out the sentiments of the customers to be able to do actions out of them. So that's sort of our use case, which for me is still actually the nicest one because it doesn't get more customer-centric than that.
Oh, are your customers happy?
They're happy, yeah. No,
According
they
to
are very happy. There's some who aren't happy, but if they're not happy, we can catch it very fast and we can see how we can improve ourselves. So I think only just talking about happy customers won't help us evolve. It's an important part. And so we as well, how we manage, or I manage the team is as well, we all have it in our monthly targets. Every employee can go and look into the tools and see, okay, how happy is our customer today? And we have it as a management tool in the management team. So it's really a present topic for us and a really important topic.
So we're nearing the end of our discussion, but I would have still a little question. You said you're very innovative. You're basically a startup spirit. But when you're a startup, you need to know how to fail. Very concretely, how do you approach failure in your company?
Yeah, I think as well that's a great topic. It's always difficult to see the failures one has, but I think what's really important in our project management, the roadmap, we always start a lot of things. We always end certain things in a certain way. It's always important that we talk about it. So after every project, we sit together, we look what went well, what went wrong. We really don't try to blame each other. I think that's really important. And for people, it's always very difficult to speak openly about it and not be offended. But that's a key part of it. Just bring the people together, talk about it in a very calm environment, see what we can do better next time, and then improve ourselves from there.
So what was your biggest failure so far?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not going to say we did everything wrong, because every failure is a good learning experience. But I think that there's definitely things in marketing we've maybe done 1 or 2 steps too far. It gave a shitstorm we maybe didn't see coming. But again, it depends who you ask. I always say if we wouldn't have had the shitstorm, then there would be 10 people out there who wouldn't know us. And it was also important to find out where the boundaries are.
Yes.
It's always important to step over the boundary a bit to then find out how far you can go.
I like the entrepreneurial spirit there.
Yeah. I don't want to sort of sound, we do everything perfect. I think it's good to fail, right? And I think that's really important. We shouldn't think as failure being something bad. So in general, I say there's not really fails. There's just learning experiences. And they might sound very cliche, but I really believe that.
That's what I tell my colleagues every day.
We can write a book together.
Oh, yeah. And I know there's one topic which is very dear to you. It's sustainability. Now, people put plenty of things in it. What is this exactly for you?
I don't say I'm sort of the most sustainable person. I'm learning every day a bit more about it. But for me, it's the perfect topic. Everything we've been talking about now, about thinking about the customer, being customer-centric. And I think sustainability is just one very good example where we as insurance companies are still failing to really think about the customer, or we're sort of forgetting about the customer. But we always think about the inside-out perspective. So insurances are still really busy in thinking about the compliance, the risk side of things. We think about processes and technology. But the customers outside, they're actually really interested in the topic, but they don't really connect it to insurance, and they don't really know and understand what the company is actually doing. The most named thing in the insurance industry is ESG. So we all have to always talk about ESG. And if you think about it, will the customer be Googling ESG if he's looking for a new policy? No, he'll be Googling, how can I insure my Tesla? So we need to think, even if the ESG thing is important, but we need to communicate the Tesla and the sustainability topic. And that's the perspective one needs to take as a customer and not as a company, the inside out versus outside in perspective.
So, what can we wish you for the next 3 years to come?
Yeah, well, our innovations, our drive and everything, I think that's something we wish ourselves, that we can continue to grow, we can continue to be open, dream big and succeed. So I think just wish the team a lot of energy, and then I think there'll be great things happening and you'll be hearing a lot about Smile in the future.
Josephine, it's been a great pleasure having this discussion with you. I wish you the very best, and let's catch up in some time to see how things are going.
Great, look forward to it. Bye, Phil.
It's been great. Bye-bye. That's all for today's episode, where we brought you some of the latest and greatest from the training, technology, and insurance worlds. Thanks for listening, and thanks to our guests for sharing their valuable insight with us. If you struggle to capture the knowledge of your experts, contact us. We'll record engaging interviews with them for you to share. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. You can also find us on YouTube or LinkedIn, where you can watch the full video of this interview and many others. This interview was made possible thanks to our colleagues, Laura Servadio for the coordination of this interview, and Patrice Séjalon for a powerful remote interview studio based on AI. Until next time, stay safe and stay insured. Cheers!